Section 3.5 in our chapter 3 is called Power of a Motor. And this section is extremely important in that there's an equation that we're going to use that specifically relates the power of a motor. Now, as you can also see, my cat, whose name is Runty, is going to join us for this particular video, and he seems to be pretty interested in what's going on. So let's look at this power of a motor formula. As you can see in this formula, it relates the power delivered by a motor in terms of the speed of rotation of the motor. That is represented by the small n in here, multiplied by the torque developed by the motor, divided by 9.55, which he tells us, and later I'll do a little side video on that about the derivation of this. This is a constant that's exactly equal to 30 divided by pi, and I'll show you where that comes from in another little video. But this equation, very useful for us because it tells us the power developed by a motor. And so what we're going to do, we're going to look at this equation. This is in watts, of course, because it's power. This speed of rotation is in RPMs. Now that causes a bit of a problem for us because, you know, our SI units are in seconds. So we'll go through some conversions and I'll show you easy ways to go from, you know, something that's given in seconds to RPMs, revolutions per minute. And of course, you know, our torque is Newton meters, which, you know, we looked at that in an earlier section. So this is what we're looking at. This is what we are going to talk about in section 3.5. And you can see, and I'll see if I can slide this over. Yeah, here we go. All right. So he talks about this thing called a Prony brake. Okay, that's Prony, a Prony brake. And what a Prony brake does, it allows us to measure the power output of a motor. Now, a Prony brake is a type of dynamometer, and it's a very inexpensive, relatively, compared to, you know, other types of dynos, but it allows us to apply a force by screwing down the top. That's a wing nut on the top. And what happens is this is a canvas belt here, and you know, the amount of force that we apply to this is something that we can measure. And this particular Prony brake has 2 gauges. Now the one that we use in our lab only has 1 gauge, but what we can do is we can measure the amount of force in newtons based on this gauge. Now, what I think I'll do here is I think I'm going to have you stop, and I'll make another recording here, but I want you to now go to another video, and maybe you don't want to watch the whole thing, but it's a video of the Prony brake that we use in our motors lab. Okay, so I want you to go to that next. So I'm going to end this one, and we'll just call this part 1, and then you watch that video, and then we'll come back and finish this section here.